the work that everyone's put into this. I certainly think that Brooke has a good point about working to be efficient where we can. I will say though that I think the borough is already very efficient with the funds. I see our staff work diligently, and all the committees work very diligently to stretch every dollar that we have. Costs are increasing. We can see that. It's been an ongoing issue when you have a project that you bid, and Gateway's been very good for us in bidding projects and being fairly conservative, and it still comes in, 1.5 times the cost. That's the reality, right? Sometimes those things happen. We have increasing, emergency fixes we've had to done. So, I can understand why we need to raise taxes as much as it's not enjoyable to do so. And I understand why.
Thank you, Matt.
So down to me. One thing I do see, and I understand what Brooke is saying, no one wants to raise taxes. Particularly most of us sitting at this table live here.
All of us. All of us.
I said particularly most. And so, looking at that and then keeping in mind whatever Allegheny County is going to do. Their vote has not been made. So to even predetermine what anyone knows what they're going to do behind closed doors, I think is really not, just something we shouldn't even discuss in that manner. However, we know that something is coming from Allegheny County. Mm-hmm. Thank you for the 1%, the 1.5 down to 1.1 million. $500,000 sounds even better.
I gotta
be very honest with you. A half sounds even better. And then knowing that we have other increases coming. And so, looking at the past, and I understand what you said, Brooke, and I will ask the question again. I have a big concern with the accountability of whatever line item went where and who shot John and how did they shoot him and with what. So if I asked the question of $285,000 that was lined for something went somewhere else, how much went where? So that we should be able to, and I know the residents that are online and others that are listening, Brooke, I heard what you said. I didn't hear an answer of 285,000. And so if I'm talking to my neighbor, if I'm talking to our constituents and they say, what did you do with $285,000? I don't want to say, I don't know. So I'm sitting here and I'm asking, what happened? Where did it go? So that's our accountability. That's our responsibility.
Can I comment on that?
Yes, you can. Thank you.
Yeah. So when you have a budget, let's say you have $100,000 and you know what, out of that $100,000, I'm not saying line item by line item, I'm just saying this purse full of $100,000. Some of those, a budget is a budget, right?
It's a plan.
It's a plan. So sometimes that plan goes under. Sometimes instead of $100,000, we ended up spending $80,000. So we're like, oh wow, look, we have this extra $20,000 that we didn't spend. Let's transfer that over. It could have been from 3 line items. It could have been from 10 line items, right? At the end of the day, it's in one pot and it's being moved over to the other pot. So could we, with different coding as we're moving forward, we're going to be able to answer this? Yes, we can. Right now, because coding has changed, we're not able to see line item of where things came from, but it came from this one budget of all of these line items. Things went under. Maybe a paving project was $50,000 less. So great, we budgeted for $50,000 more because we thought that's what it was going to cost us. But the person said, you know what? We spent less money. We already had extra materials from another project, whatever the case may be. So we were left with this extra amount of money. We're like, great, extra amount of money. Let's move it over where we really need it. So it's not that we can't particularly say, where did it come from? Because it came from multiple line items.
I'm not saying where did it come from. And I thank you. And I respect the fact that you say we're changing the coding so that we'll be able to track where that $20,000, we're just using figures. Where it was left over.
It was left over. Yes.
Where did it go? What did it get used on? Because it went somewhere. It just didn't disappear. I mean, I understand. I budget my household budget. I'm like, oh, hon, we'd have a couple extra dollars. Okay, so he'll say, well, no, we don't say let's get rid of it because that's, I hate to say it. That's what it sounded like we did. We said, oh, an extra $20,000. Let's put it over there. What do we should be able to say our constituents are very intelligent people.
Yeah, 100%.
We moved it over here and it sat there. And so we took that was over there and we moved it over, and we did this with it.
Mhm.
So that's just plain. Is that really plain? We took it, we moved it, we did this. with
And
it.
there were some emergency
And
repairs.
so,
that
yep,
definitely went
thank you.
to-
So the emergency repairs that it went to, so we should, at the end of the day, now that
Yes.
you're doing the different coding,
Yes,
correct?
it's
At the
heck
end
a
of
lot
the
easier
day,
now.
we can say that 20,000 that came from here, it went somewhere, and here's what we use that extra 20,000 on. It's line item. So I get it. The accountability, as a resident needs to get better. So
That's
that
exactly what we switched over, girl. I
Thank
get
you. So that, even when we're talking of that, that type of back and forth, that's very, I'm gonna leave that alone. But again, to be able to say,
Where to
it was
go?
$285,000, the questions are asked, we can answer those questions without the back confrontation. I'm so
100%.
sorry.
And.
So, again, my opinion then on the 1%, I loved it. When does Allegheny County vote? When is their vote?
This week.
This week,
It's this week.
tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
It's
Yeah, it's
tomorrow.
Tuesday, yeah, it's Tuesday,
Theirs is Tuesday.
yeah, there's this Tuesday.
It's either gonna go to court or it's gonna pass. Or
Or not.
So it's, we got an either or, we have an either or.
Yes.
And so Churchill and other,
Everyone now.
other, not just Allegheny County, other boroughs are raising their taxes as well.
Oh,
There are
my
some.
God.
So it doesn't, I think that in order so that we're not sitting here this time next year, and making other, announcements for budget hearings, like the presentation that you guys did was very well. I think getting that kind of thing done so that residents are more aware of that we need to advertise that a little bit more. 1% from Churchill, I gotta be very honest. Good job.
windmill.
Oh, no, yeah.
Okay.
I have, but
Girl,
thank you for knocking that 0.5 off of there, thank you for knocking it off. I mean,
Yeah.
as long as we can get through it,
We can get through it, and
thank
I
you.
think that that is a fair way to move forward, without whacking everyone over the
Without-
head. Because we do have to raise the sewage, because that is, to me, that gives me panic attacks.
And so then, Andrew, we're talking about the 1 mil. What does 1 mil look like dollar wise? Give me
Oh,
that.
for average household,
What is that?
it's like, was like $10 a month or something like that, not even? $8,000.
Yeah.
I mean, you have it, then
What does it look like?
Michelle will bring it up, I
We
can't
put
remember.
that, we put that in the budget.
Yeah, I
presentation.
just can't remember off the top of my head.
I'm just saying for the table, so that the residents, anybody that's
Yes.
listening can hear.
Presentation, we did utilize the 1.5.
It's fine.
So that was $2.88 per week, $12.50 per month, and $150 per year.
Per year.
Per
That
year.
was
Or
based
it's
on
gonna-
the
we'll pay for that.
average,
Average house.
and the average house price, right?
Is,
Correct.
the average house price
Yeah.
is,
What, we do like
160 or 170?
Something like that.
Okay.
I think it was 170.
so you dropped it down to 1, so it's gonna be less than that, because you took it
Yes.
down to 1.
Right, so
Okay.
it would be less than $150.
Thank you, I
a
appreciate
year
that.
For the
Thank
average,
you.
rate. So you're talking average, I'll put for math, $10 a
$10
month.
a month.
Yeah, so again, I don't want to do that either to you. I don't, because I understand things cost more. Trust me, I went to Sam's Club today and almost had a heart attack, but like, I was like.
Thank you.
Um,
I
no,
appreciate
Miss-
that.
And Ms. Mayor, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, one of my concerns is and coming from a fixed income person.
Thank
you. Taxes really affect me.
Yeah.
But I look at our own building, things that we need to do here. And when I say, "Well, we need to fix this, we need to fix that," well, we don't have money. And Matt remembers a few years ago, I think it was, one of the committees, we went out, walked around the building, walked all over. This needs fixed, that needs fixed. Hell, the building needs painted, probably need a new roof soon.
Yeah.
If you've been down in the basement, it's actually scary down there.
Yes,
No, I don't wanna
Things
go
that
there.
need to be done in our own house that we don't have money for.
Yep.
And I just wanna make sure those things are taken care of. When you walk in front of the building, people come and visit, paint's coming off the building. It's not a good look for us. So I'd like to get those things done. And also to mention, the chief can verify this, the one gentleman who sent the thing about the speed signs. We have one roving speed sign that the battery doesn't charge all the time, and it's on its last leg, and I think they do help. I see people slow down when I hit those signs.
Mhm.
Like, there's one on Thornbury, which isn't there now, because it's down for repairs or charging, and it gets moved around, so, and to buy those things, they're not $100.
Yeah.
And I think the residents want those
Mhm.
safety measures in the borough, we should have the money to buy them, to put them around the borough.
Thank you.
Thank
We just need more Peckies around.
Would you need me?
People slow
He's the
down
best
for the-
seasonings.
People slow down for the turkey.
Oh,
Definitely. Any other, I feel like every council member was able to give their input, so I really appreciate it. I want to say thank you to staff, and the finance committee for truly diligently looking line item by line items for this budget. I know how many hours, blood, sweat, and tears went into this, so I just want to say thank you for all of your hard work. Especially Ashley and Michelle for this. I appreciate it. So thank you.
We all do.
All right, we will move on to discussing a possible ordinance for the Churchill tax collector salary, Danielle here. Hi. Would you like to say a few words?
First of all, 73 years old, I've never had asked for a raise. So I'm like,
You're still a baby.
You could give it a couple more years still.
the Woodland Hills tax collectors get together a couple times a year. And at the last gathering, we were talking about salary and Rankin, Chalfont, and East Pittsburgh collect half the bills that I get. And they're already at $9,000 on their borough budget. When I sent the letter to Michelle, I have a little bit of accounting background, but not enough. The figures on here that I was asking for an $8,000 increase, that I'm asking for $10,000.
Thank
And
you.
not increase, add to.
Okay, that was gonna be my clarification.
That's right. That is a 0.5% of total taxes collected.
So just for transparency, what is the current
I get 6,000.
6,000? So you're asking from $6,000 to $10,000,
Correct.
and the letter stated 8.
And only, I spoke with Dan Doring. He doesn't remember the last time he had an increase. So the salary that he was getting, which was around 5,000, the previous
Prior.
salary, it had that for years. He never bothered to ask. So Churchill started out behind whenever I came into the office. I'm just asking to get caught up and to be a little bit ahead of people that are doing less work than them, collecting more revenue than what I'm collecting. Pennsylvania law for the tax collectors, 5% of the taxes collected is the maximum that I would be able to, which that's $200,000. So that's, but I'm just asking for a 0.5% of our tax.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
I guess I'm a little confused. So I read the letter, that was 8,000, but you're saying that's not accurate?
No, because like I said, I didn't know what the other collectors were making. And then when I spoke with Mr. Doring and found out he'd never asked for or hadn't received an increase in years.
I'm not sure you definitely asked for multiple increases, but I think you got at least one just in my tenure here, so I think you might want to double check that.
But I'd like to be.
Was it ever a voluntary position? No.
No, because it's an elected.
It's an elected.
Okay.
So just so I understand, your original request that you wrote and sent in was for a $2,000 increase from 6,000, but to 8, and now tonight you're saying that you'd really want a $4,000 increase
So 10,
from 6,000 to 10,000.
which will take me at least a little bit over what people that are doing less work and generating less revenue than what I'm generating. They're making 9,000, not generating the amount of revenue that I'm generating.
Are you still interested in working for the boroughs as well?
What do you mean working?
You had mentioned that you wanted the option to work for like Braddock or North Braddock, or I can't,
Not, that's not,
I'm just, that's just a question.
no, it's not that I wanna work for them and not here. It would.
Correct, no, so.
In addition.
Okay.
In addition,
I'm looking to find tax collectors for the boroughs that have Jordan Tax Service doing it. Because if you talk to them, they'll tell you, they want a tax collector, they don't want a company. They don't get the service.
Yep.
It's-
so would you also be, or are you still,
I'll
let me,
be here.
I understand that you'll be here and you are also interested in helping other municipalities on top of helping us here
Right,
with this, you would also be interested in helping other municipalities with their tax collection
until they find a tax collector.
until they find a tax
Right,
collector.
I'd go in and would be advertising for the tax collector and.
Okay.
So it's not gonna be a permanent thing, hopefully.
But we're not 100% sure until they,
Well, I can't do anything until it's passed here.
what do you mean?
Both boroughs have to agree to the joint use.
Okay,
So.
what
I
boroughs
can't,
are they?
Well, the one I'm interested in is
Edgewood?
yeah, that's a small.
When you say joint, what do you mean joint?
I would be, it's like you collect for two boroughs. But
Both have to agree.
They both have to agree.
and then they,
Okay.
I can't approach them until you agree. So if you say, no, we don't want you doing it, then I can't do it. I can't go to them.
I understand. What is it, Edgewood and?
Well, Edgewood, Forest Hills and. Braddock, I believe.
It's letter F.
Oh, I'm sorry. I jumped in. That's
No,
all right.
no.
Thank you.
Braddock
I jumped
and
ahead.
Forest Hills, yeah, right. in
Yeah,
front of our
Forest Hills,
face.
okay, and Braddock,
I hate when things are black and white.
Oh, thank you.
They know.
until we vote on it.
Okay,
And I can't see any reason why you wouldn't. It's not going to affect my job here in any way.
I have some concerns about capacity.
I have, my husband's my deputy and he works with me doing the taxes now. So he'll be helping with whatever borough comes in, it'll be like, he'll be helping.
Do we, would,
I know it's confusing.
So I guess, I don't know, it's hard because of being an elected position, right? Like, one of us couldn't go and moonlight and be on council somewhere else, right? Because they'd say, hey, your allegiance is to the
You belong
people
to
that
church.
elected you,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know how I feel about that because, our residents didn't, have a choice in that when they were electing a tax collector, right?
It's in the tax collector law. It's an option that's there. It's been established. It's not something that I'm just coming up with.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just saying, it's a thought I have.
Question, so Danielle, would staying at the $6,000 salary that Churchill is paying you for collecting revenues and allowing you to engage other boroughs to do tax collection for them, and then whatever the salary is that they pay you. I feel like that's a way to meet in the middle. Because we just had a difficult conversation about budget and revenues. And I don't believe that option 1 or 2 of the proposed mill increase, and you all can correct me if I'm wrong, included a $10,000 tax collector salary.
Not 10.
This would be for 2026.
For 2020.
Okay, that makes sense.
Not only that,
Okay.
but changing over to Huntington, I think you said it was like $43,000 opportunity. And that's gonna be interest from money that I'm generating. So it's almost, yeah, I would, if you approve it, I would still want the 10,000.
I think we kind of differ on generating because as a homeowner, I value paying my taxes and I've committed by moving into this community that I'm going to pay my taxes. So, I don't know if, maybe generated, we're kind of like differing on who's generating the tax revenue. I appreciate, your interest in wanting to continue to provide the service to Churchill. I think it's something that I need to consider a little bit further, being that we have jumped from 6 to 8 now to 10. And then also, considering the other boroughs that you want to do tax collection for. I'm in support of, granting that request to do tax collection for those boroughs. But proposing increasing the tax collector salary for Churchill for 2026. I need to submit on that.
Well, let me, something you may not be aware of. I cannot ask for a salary increase after February 15th. So whatever you're going to do, it has to be done by February 15th.
For 2025?
For 2026.
26,
No,
right.
February 15th.
Of 2025.
25.
To go to 26.
For
2026.
Only get an increase February 15th of the election year.
Yeah, to be clear, it's not your increase, that's the position.
It's a
The
position.
position.
Whoever runs.
Thank
for
you.
it, that's
Okay.
the intent.
And
No
so-
matter what, we're setting the bar then.
We're getting ready to set a bar,
Mhm.
okay. Okay,
So then we would also be setting the bar that anyone who assumes a tax collector position could then
Yes.
go after Edgewood, Braddock, Forest Hills.
No, that would,
Or is that specific to Daniel?
That would be to the position, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it would most likely be to the position, we haven't even seen the draft. So this will require an intergovernmental cooperation agreement between Churchill and one of these other communities. no one's presented anything to the borough at this point. So there's not even that for your consideration, but I would think that, we'd set it up to run with the position, just in case.
I thought that was included in the salary.
They haven't said anything.
The other borough,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that you got,
the other boroughs, something from the other borough?
nothing from them,
That's
just
what I.
what's in Pennsylvania. Oh, I'm sorry.
I understand, we know Pennsylvania law.
Alright.
That's what they've been with.
Services.
I just have some concerns with capacity and services, like you mentioned, Danielle, our residents are expected to have this type of service, and I'm concerned that if you are doing this and other things, how would that impact the service that our residents are getting and the quality of our service? And I'm sure I'm not the only one that is thinking
No,
that.
I have the similar thought. I mean, I know, there's a busy time of year for tax collection, right? Just the reason I can't get my accountant on the phone, basically, after
First of the year,
Thanksgiving,
yeah, yeah.
right through,
Yeah.
May. He's glad to have lots of conversations in June and July, but otherwise he's, quite busy. So my concern would be if, with
Picking up
multiple other
the
municipalities and they get busy or slammed with a bunch of bills coming in, does that mean that Churchill's not getting the service that our residents, have come to expect because you've been, so dedicated to them previously?
Yeah, I don't anticipate that happening, and it wouldn't be multiple boroughs, it would only be one. It would just,
so it would be one of the three,
Oh, one of the three, not the three.
no. no.
One of the
That-
three.
And none of them may agree to it.
Right.
So,
so I then do have a concern, so if it's one of the three, you'll be getting a salary from one of the three?
yes, whatever their salaries on your books.
Okay, so do they have a position of an elected tax collector?
That's what I would be going in there for, to find somebody to take over positions.
No, wait a minute. Back up again. Someone will be going and to be elected for that taxpayer position, correct? Versus you're saying you will be finding someone,
Next year is the election.
right? So you'll
So
just be
if
working
I
from
go in
then.
there- If I go in there, say in February.
It would
and
just be until that person is
and then
elected.
Find someone that'll run in November, that's great, then they'll take over
For 2026.
as soon
For
as
2020, when is it, 2020?
2025.
No.
So,
No, they'll take over, it's.
okay, so let's back up. So what
Yeah,
you're
thank
saying
you.
is for 2025, you're asking to engage one of the three boroughs, Edgewood, Braddock, or Forest Hills, to see if you can provide tax collection services until the primary and general election in 2025 is over. And then 2026, if someone has run in 2025, assumes the position for
Right.
2026.
In January.
And then we'll do the tax collection moving forward. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Okay.
That's still here.
a
Okay.
year.
So
So it's
for
just,
next
So
year.
that is if somebody runs, like you said.
Or if there's someone that agrees to do it, like I agreed to do it because Dan was a year early.
Yeah.
okay,
So if
I
someone
see.
agrees
Thank
to
you.
do it, they
I
can take
understand.
over immediately.
Okay.
It wouldn't
And if
have
they
to be
don't
paid,
have somebody that
but then
runs,
they would run for it in
Okay.
November, like I did.
and if nobody runs,
Then you would
Then
just
you're-
keep
then
doing.
you're-
it.
then you just keep doing it.
I would just, until I find someone. It's not a difficult job, and like we said, there's only a few months out of the year where people are just slammed.
Yeah.
But that's what I have told you.
Well, can you kind of walk us through on what the position actually entails? Like, what is the capacity that someone needs to be able to be an efficient tax collector?
It's, you get the bills are sent out for you. They come in, you record them on the program, you make deposits. You deal with mortgage companies that their, clients are refinancing or new mortgages. So you're dealing with them, giving records, sending records to them. And that's basically it. You have a monthly report that I send down. Any changes of address, like whenever Allegheny County sends me the change orders, then those get recorded and billed or sent on to have the, refunds issued. It's March when the bills go out, and April, the end of April is when the discount is over.
Mhm.
So March and April are extremely busy. July and August are extremely busy.
Mhm.
But then the rest of those months, like right now, I'm just handling late bills. Like I sent out final notices to everyone who didn't pay school and borough. And, you have to have it paid the end of the year, it's one for a lien.
Okay,
So I've been getting those in. I've been doing the change orders. I've been doing it's not difficult. It's, there's no training. I went in, cold. I just had
so do
some-
you have your office is here at the building?
Yeah, my office
This is at home. So the deposits are made by you?
Yes, I go once a week.
Oh, you go once a week.
I
Okay.
thought sometimes staff did that.
The only reason is because I'm waiting for a machine to come in.
Okay,
How often are staff making deposits?
I've only made two something. And they're done right here in the office.
what do you mean done in the office?
They have the machine.
Oh, okay,
reads it and makes the deposit.
so you make the
That's what I'm
deposits.
waiting for it
Okay,
to come in, so I can start doing it.
what does the staff do? Does the staff do anything?
She actually sends over this list once a month, and then I submit it to be paid, the change orders for the refunds that the people need. And, send out a letter with it.
You send a letter to who? You?
Yes.
To whom?
To
The
the,
homeowner.
yeah, to the homeowner, to the person that owns the taxes.
So
or
she
the
does-
person that gets paid the taxes.
Yeah.
Am I
I'm
allowed to
curious-
see that?
I've been shelf on, they cut the check, but then they give the checks to the tax collector to send out.
I am curious. I think it feels like this is a lot of conversation, which is great. I'm really happy that we're
Okay.
having a very engaging conversation. I think this is really important when we're talking about transparency to our taxpayers, to our residents, to us. I would be curious to have a list of tasks that staff do to that assist Danielle. Would anybody
That's
else be interested in seeing that?
That was my question,
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
What goes here, what goes there?
Yeah.
As far as the responsibilities, and I know being busy around the March, April to
Yeah.
July, August, the late bills, those parts. Then what exactly does the staff do? Because the jump of salary from $6,000 to $10,000, and we're already talking about, that's a big jump. And I know it's in the budget. Well, I mean, no, it's not in the
It's not
budget.
about it.
It's not in the
Not in the
budget.
budget. Okay, I do need to, if
Just,
we can,
just to be clear, so Danielle sends this over once a month. I create a spreadsheet out of it and I put it on a spreadsheet. I bring it over to Mount Lebanon so that they can cut the checks for it. When it comes back, that's when I send out the letter with the checks. I think creative this.
Yeah, I think your council would be great as we're discussing this and making a decision and possibly voting on this next week. I think it would be great for us to get some more clarity around that piece. I think that would
That's
be
all
helpful.
done.
Yeah, and that's fine, and I think it's important to have that written and presented to us.
Just on timeline, right? Our deadline's February 15th,
Yeah, so we have.
right?
it.
So we
We
have
don't have to
time
do
in
it next
January
week.
or
Thank you.
February that we
Thank
could
you.
vote on this.
So it's by ordinance, so you need to have your discussion in January, your January business meeting, you could vote to advertise the ordinance, and then you can adopt it at your
We have
February
time.
meeting.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
I'd like to get some more information. I
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah.
I really do. Now Danielle, you said that other elected officials get less than the 10,000?
They do half of the billing that I do and they get 9,000. And that's
Okay, other-
Chalfont, East Pittsburgh, and Franklin.
Other boroughs get,
Right,
or
they-
they're salaried at 9,000.
right, I have
Okay.
1,570 for bills that I send out. They have around between 700 and 800.
Okay, so they're doing half. Okay, I see.
So if we looked at some other municipalities though, are there folks where they're doing more bills than you are for less of a rate?
What's their
Yeah.
rate? Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm asking, right?
Find anyone that's
Okay.
less.
I hear what you're saying, man.
Well, I mean, I'm just,
Another borough.
right? You gave 3 examples. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, apples to apples.
Less than me, I know. Michelle over in Wilkins, she's got twice as many as I do, and she is in the $10,000, she's in the 10,000.
So she does
Twice.
twice more than
He
you.
does more than you.
So if we're doing it like, if we're comparing by bill, like by the
I see
pay
what
per
you're
bill that
saying.
you're putting out, then she's making, about the
She's
same
getting-
as you, but
This
doing
is
twice
what-
as much
this
work.
is how the school does it. I get a base salary of $35.95, and then $3.25 for each bill I sent out. So I'm around 87 or 88, and we approached the school for a salary increase, because that hasn't been done in
I'm-
8 years.
Yeah, I'm not sure though, the school
Yeah,
This-
weighs into our decision.
We're talking about.
We're talking about
municipality here.
the borough
Yeah,
tax
we're
collection,
talking
that's
Don't
separate.
think about it. Okay, because I'm getting ready to get confused
Same
again.
amount of work for both. That's how I look at it.
So,
With
okay,
these separate
but we
jobs,
can
right?
talk to Rebecca and Wilkins and look at a couple others to see and get some more
Can-
information.
Can we kick this, management and government have just a little bit more discussions on that?
Sure. And we'll
And then
do
we're,
some research.
I know that actually Michelle giving us
Research.
council some information too. And hopefully we can,
And anyone is welcome to come over at any time.
Thank you.
and Look at the process.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank you.
Appreciate
okay, yeah,
Let
that
me know
works.
so I can bust to make the bet.
Fair, fair.
I appreciate that.
Okay, okay.
Hey,
Thank you.
Val, do you mind if I weigh in just for 1 second?
Yes, please.
So, we've covered pretty much all concerns that have been brought up. I'm pretty much aligned with, but when you're talking about taking on more, you're saying you do twice as much as Chalfont does, twice as much as X, Y, and Z does. Now, like Matt said, you're elected in Churchill, your responsibility is to the Churchill residents. So if it's busy, the certain months of the year, I know kind of how people are with when things go wrong, it's our staff that they call and tie up. Ashley's on the phone when there's a water issue. Ashley's on the phone putting out fires, even though we're not the water company. So my concern is by taking on more responsibility, you're not going to be there for Churchill residents when they call, or, it takes a couple days to get back to them. And my concern is that they're going to call the borough, and then it's taking our staff's time away from doing what they need to do day to day. So that's just one of the things that would really concern me, because I know Ashley does a ton. I mean, I went in there today, she was standing on her head, putting up Christmas decorations, answering emails and everything else, So I just don't want it to reflect poorly on us and for people to take it out on us that hey, we've been calling the tax collector for days and we haven't been able to get a hold.
Thanks, Greg.
That's a good point. Thank you, Greg. All right, what's next? Sorry, got lost.
All right, am I done?
You were
Yes,
good.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I don't see you, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Yeah, we talked, or, okay. We did talk about sewer. All right, public safety.
I will just be very quick on an update. We did have a meeting. We discussed a number of ongoing issues. I was able to attend the volunteer fire company meeting, so that was good to get a chance to reacquaint myself with a number of our firefighters and volunteers. I will say more about it in the meeting next week, but long story short is I just want to remind folks, we have a volunteer fire company, and as the end of the year comes up, if you haven't participated in their giving drive, they are a nonprofit, right? These folks are out there putting in hundreds of hours serving our community, and they are unpaid. So again, I'll talk a little bit more about that, and then we will also be setting up a meeting with the fire company president, Brian, as well. So I'm gonna be looking for the committee members to find time so we can meet with him.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Infrastructure.
So infrastructure, we did not meet this month.
Mhm.
So there still are some items that we do need to discuss.
Okay.
And we are, for our December meeting, since it's Christmas, we will not be meeting on Christmas. We will be home on Christmas. And so we've moved our meeting a week ahead. So I think Michelle sent the notice out to everyone, but we do have, you just sent it out? Okay. Great, thank you so much, Ashley. So we do have a few items on here, and Michelle can go over those for us quickly.
Yeah, Dennis can probably add a little bit more.
Just go, Dennis. Yeah, okay, so it's in your hands thank you, Dennis.
You have an agenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have it in front of me, so I can probably talk on A, B, and C all kind of simultaneously. Those are the operation maintenance contracts. Who have an operation maintenance plan required B of your sewer system of the year. That generates repairs that are necessary for your infrastructure, for sewer infrastructure. And based on level 5 defects or types of defects that are found, those repairs are to be complete within 6 months. There's a bit of a backlog that exists there, and we normally work with both the construction committee and staff to determine the exact repairs to be completed before issuing them to a contractor. The one thing that we've done for each of those contracts that are necessary for the borough to have, we were able to bid those projects out with a potential option year to extend. So the contracts as they were bid with that option year, and that option year will be compared against other bidders, to ensure that that bidder still has the lowest bid for the following year. For state pipe services, that is CCTV contract, that would be for option year 2 of 3. So that would bid in 2024. That would be to accept the option renewal for 2025. We did review that against the other bidders, which the low bidder. For both Jet Jack, which is the manhole lining work, and Solite Construction, plastic excavation repair work or digging work. They are both entering year 3 of 3.
Okay.
Of the contract that were bid in 2023. In both of those cases, they were originally the only bidders for Churchill that year. At the time, we evaluated against other similar type contracts. Again, this year, we evaluated both of those, the renewal percentage amount against other similar contracts that have been bid out recently, and the numbers still fall in line. At the end of the day, that also saves from having to go out to bid or us putting together new specifications or redesigning this point, based on our evaluation, would recommend, Gavin, correct me if I say it incorrectly, but instead of just renewal, but that would be to, accept the option, year per the original contract. For
So that'd be like a 1 year extension?
It's,
It's part of the,
yeah, we elect, so it's a borough option to elect, give them 2 additional option years when
Got
the way these are bid.
Yep.
So it's either motion to elect option year 2 or option year 3,
Got it.
whichever.
and then my question then goes to the budget committee. That's in our budget for 2025. Like what you were saying, this will take us into
And this does not guarantee the contractor any specific.
amount,
payment.
yeah.
It is
It's-
just
we-
to
we-
increase their unit price cost.
Okay.
And at the beginning of the year, we'll meet with, infrastructure committee
Mhm.
staff again to develop the work orders to be presented to the contractor. So with that, we're able to kind of control exactly how much is being done. Now, at the same time, we're trying to make sure that we stay in compliance and do what is necessary, in order to keep the system, in working order. Like I said, there are requirements for what you need to repair, and how much you need to repair. You have to televise at least 10% of your system every year. So there are requirements that you have to follow in terms of those repairs. And then there are other things like there's lines that don't have a manhole at the end of the line, it's just dead ends.
Mhm.
So those are some of the things that are sitting out there. It's better to be completed because if there's a repair in the middle of that line, you don't have access for them. You don't have. But those are normally ones that are able to, similar to some of the discussion earlier, try to find the repairs that we can push for future years. Again, as the staff and structured committee kind of see fit, we're able to kind of pick off some of those throughout the year. But only it's worth a while.
Thank you.
great, thanks. Thanks, everyone.
The fair count?
The deadline for the LSA grant program was, last Friday, so the 29th. I did have to go ahead and see the submitting that. It was submitted for repaving of, Fenwick, Valiant, and Camelot, and Lancewood, as well as Henley and Barnaby. That total cost estimate came to be around $600 that was submitted to them. And we were required to do some sort of letter of matching it, so I allocated what would be through liquid fuels fund. So I said about $100,000. I did reach out to our state rep and our senator in order to get their support for this endeavor as well. But with this, we need to submit resolution stating saying that this is what we want to do. So I sent a draft, but they do need the resolution.
Thank you for working on that.
Yeah,
I know that.
That's a pain. That's a
Yeah, I
pain.
know, you worked really hard on that, and there's lots of conversation about that, so, thank you.
Just for understanding, if we get grant funding awarded, but it's not the full amount, we have the flexibility to kind of mix and match the roads that we're gonna take care of and fit kind of whatever budget we end up at.
Yeah, with the LSA, you can't say in the report you were gonna pay Henley, but then you're like, oh, I changed my mind, I want to.
Forget you.
Yeah, as long as we do some sort of paving that we listed.
Got it.
We don't have to do it all.
Hopefully we'll get all the grant funding
That
and
would
we
be
can do it
amazing.
all. That would be fantastic.
So that money would not be seen until 2026, is that correct? Perfect. I just wanted to clarify that for the public. So this was applied for now, not for next year, it would be for the year after.
But thank you for being proactive.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for putting in a plan, so that way when it's time to look at the budget for 2026,
Yeah.
hopefully we can include that.
We have, we know what
We'll be able to, right, to know exactly what we're supposed to do.
and to allocate
for
that.
that year. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Very helpful. All right, we'll move on to communication committee.
Okay, well, our newsletter was due December 1st, which was yesterday, so, I think things are moving
Still
along.
getting some in.
You're still getting a little bit?
I submitted mine today,
Okay, thank you. So that's,
well, Sunday, but
Midnight.
no, it was Sunday day. Um,
how much
How
more do you need?
What do we need?
For budget.
Mhm.
I think we're gonna wait to submit it until after the resolution for budget and sewer is passed, so I know the official numbers.
Makes sense.
Okay,
I'm waiting for like some tree committee. I know I talked to Ken today about that. The mayor's seen a lot of great articles for that. But yeah, there's about a handful I'm waiting for. The
Okay.
library, you can send something. I didn't get theirs yet.
next couple of days.
Yes.
Okay, so residents should expect to.
Matt, didn't we have something to go in from infrastructure? I'm looking at.
I think we talked about a
We
bunch of
did.
ideas in the
Mhm.
meeting, but I don't remember if anyone jumped on writing or anything.
No, I know we talked about, being aware that we came or salting and plowing is gonna be coming up, so moving cars over.
Right.
So that-
Okay,
Interesting two ideas. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good, great.
thank you.
Okay, so maybe by the end of the week, we'll have all that. We hope. Right.
we're hoping.
Ish.
We're hopeful.
Ish.
We didn't say which week.
You said ish.
End of which week?
So residents should probably be seeing a newsletter around mid-January.
Yeah.
Definitely by the, I would say the third week, of January, yeah.
There you go.
So, also, this Friday is a big day. I hope everybody will join us. It's our,
Including the turkey.
it's our holiday
Maybe she'll
party.
make her appearance.
I never know.
Turkey callings, we'll get some, so maybe she can come.
So this Friday, we are having our holiday party in the chambers, all decorated. It's gonna be fun. 5 to 8 p.m., 6:30 Santa is making an appearance. If anybody brings their kids, they can get their picture taken with Santa, say hi to Santa.
Well, can I get my picture taken with
And,
Santa?
of course,
Okay.
adults can get their picture taken as well. We're gonna have cookie decorating and some snacks or what have you, and then our wonderful mayor is going to do the ceremonial tree lighting at 7 o'clock. We have
Fantastic.
2 trees that are decorated in the front of the building. That Greg put up one today and he's gonna finish tomorrow with the other tree.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Greg.
Fun committee.
Fun committee.
Fun committee.
Yeah, chair of the fun
Summer
committee.
fun.
Committee, yes.
Thank
And
you.
don't forget, that is a completely free event, by the way. We're not charging for cookies, snacks.
Residents and friends of Churchill, you don't have to live here, but you know, if you have some neighbors in Wilkins or whatever, bring them along. And again, that's from 5 to 8 on Friday. And then the following Friday, we've had many people sign up, but if there are still a few more people out there, we are doing our get your photo with your pet with
I
Santa.
cannot wait to bring this rabbit. I cannot wait to bring the rabbit.
I can't wait for someone that brings the python.
That sounds good for Christmas dinner.
Stop, Matt. He's getting out of control. He's doing it
You
with
could
Jesse.
deep fry anything.
Anyhow, that is Friday the 13th from 5 to 8.
Perfect.
And if you have a pet out there and you want your picture, it is free, like Greg said. We will have a stationary camera taking the picture. Santa will be here and, just contact our office by
Get signed up.
email.
Email or phone, the slots are
Phone.
almost full, so.
Right.
so
So we can- Lots of rooms full, but we can still squeeze in a few more
Yeah,
people.
Yes, we want to make sure we have one pet in the gable room
At the time, yeah.
Right.
So
So
that's
you
Right.
don't want the
We're trying
rabbit
our
and the German Shepherd. Okay.
No, no.
filling up fast.
Your pet pig, your pet pig has to stay in the other room until, right. So that's Friday the
I'm
13th.
sitting right here, Deb.
So this Friday is the holiday party. Next Friday is the photos with Santa. And then Saturday, of course, is our annual Santa parade from 10 to 1:30. Santa will be going around practically most of the same route that the Easter Bunny goes on. There are a couple streets that are not on the Santa parade because we have the fire truck and it's just too
Can't turn,
difficult.
yeah.
Right. I mean, in an emergency, the fire truck will be there. but not for this. So, look for
Do
the,
we have a time slot listed? for
Yes,
this?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
look
I just,
for-
yeah,
look
I
for
didn't look
this.
at it, that's my
on
fault.
our website will be the parade route like we do with the Easter Bunny Parade.
with the streets
The
and the
streets.
estimated.
May time, right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Approximate
Oh, yeah,
time,
we're
right.
gonna hold Santa too.
Sometimes Santa gets chatty.
Santa is very chatty,
I can
so
imagine.
sometimes it's a little, you know,
That's
we
perfect.
try. Oh, and Santa's elf will be there as well.
I heard that, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, we have an
I
elf.
talked to the elf the other day and she's all ready, so.
Great.
Very
yes,
good.
yes,
Thank you,
so-
Santa and Al.
Yes, and also thank you to all our volunteer firefighters who help out with this on Saturday, the 14th. We always appreciate, you know, it's enough that they do so much in a volunteer, and now we're asking them to help out with this, and we certainly do appreciate it.
Thank you, Deb.
And I think, oh, and then one other thing, all month long, if you have a terrific decorated house and you want to just shoot us a picture at our office at churchillborough.com, we will be periodically posting those pictures, so keep that in mind.
Thank you.
And
Thank
I
you.
think that's all I have for now.
All
You're
right.
awesome, Deb. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're the best.
Next is climate action.
Also, Deb.
But, Michelle can discuss the application.
So Connect reached out and thought we would be interested in doing a more grant. So that's municipal operations for retrofit and energy efficiency. With the grant, you, I believe it was $50,000, you get a energy audit completed. So they'll come in, they'll look at the building, see where a lot of energy is going. Some items that need to change in order to save money and save energy in the building. And then with that, you pay for the audit, and then whatever's left over could go for the changes that need to be done. So,
Is this kind of like the financial analysis, but for,
Yeah, green, yeah, it's
Yeah.
green, it's a green
Sort of.
financial, analysis, yeah.
okay,
this will actually get, if we are awarded the grant, we'll actually get money in order to possibly replace the windows.
that's awesome.
Perfect. Love it.
That's great. We've been talking about windows for a while.
Yes,
For
I
years.
believe these are the original windows.
They are OG
Take a
windows.
lot.
Oh, gee.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. And thank you for always looking for grants. We appreciate it.
we need it.
It's how we survive.
All right, ad hoc education and school district.
So the Woodland Hills School District is actively interviewing to replace the superintendent. I did have written down the number of applicants that they had initially received. They had a high interest from the community of individuals who are qualified to serve as a superintendent. They were able to narrow it down, and I will have more information as it becomes available.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing for play space. Mr. Mayor.
Well, first I'd like to mention there, the chief has with the Toys for Tots. The boxes out in the hallway out there. There's a few in there, could use a few more to where it's kind of overflowing itself. So if you remember to bring us something, something, a toy to be passed on. Last year, I know when I went with the chief up to the Monroe Mall, lots of people, lots of gifts, lots of kids. A very good cause that the police department put together, so if you keep that in mind to do that.
When you come on Friday for the lighting, bring a toy.
Unwrapped toy, yes.
Unwrapped.
Unwrapped toy.
And when's the last day for that? Collection?
Sunday, the 8th is the last day. of collection.
Oh,
Perfect.
Okay, perfect.
So when you come on Friday,
Bring a toy.
to
Please
hang out
bring an
with us,
unwrapped toy if you.
bring a toy.
Yeah, and Monday.
Great. Is there a specific age range? I think we discussed this before, but I'd like to say it out loud. No,
They
like,
really don't, I mean, they take them anywhere from toddlers up to, 16, 17 years old.
but I know that I mentioned like 9 to,
Yeah, there was a number they threw out there that was kind of like the target demographic.
Yeah.
That's where let's expel, but
Okay. That's all right.
The other thing I just want to mention, thanks to Deb and Greg and everyone on the staff who's been decorating this whole building for the
Beautiful.
past week,
That's awesome.
I walked in the other day, took a peek at all the decorations in anticipation of our Christmas thing, so that'll be really good. And that's about all I have for tonight.
Great.
Oh, I have one more.
Yeah.
thing. We have a mailbox for Santa that's in our lobby, so anyone who is writing, if your kids or whomever is writing a letter to adults, writing a letter to Santa. We have the Santa mailbox set up now in the lot.
Oh, that's
Oh,
cute.
thank you.
Wonderful.
I didn't know
Mhm,
that,
That's
thank you.
awesome. That's awesome. Can we also put that,
Mhm, yeah.
Yes, yes.
I'll text you.
any other comments, thoughts?
I have a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Before-
I'm so sorry. Before you go, can I have Chief, did you have anything?
No, I'm just gonna reiterate about, Sunday though is the final day for collection. So-
Great,
Thanks, Chief.
thank you.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
I have a comment on the suggestion that I asked about residents and interacting with staff. What's the update on that?
We have discussed, we have had some discussions with our solicitor. I
Mhm.
think we need more discussions in management and the government. I think I would like you and I could sit down and have a little bit more specifics.
Sounds great.
Sound
That's
good?
great. Mhm.
And then we could, I'll talk to you about it in management government.
Sounds good. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
One thing I want to add too is that tomorrow's the last leaf pickup.
Oh, right.
And thank you for advertising. Yes, thank you.
Please put your bags out in biodegradable bags tonight, and then it'll be picked up sometime.
Better hurry up.
When do the citations go out? What's the date of the citations? Does anybody know? Public safety.
What do you mean?
For residents that have not raked their leaves. There's a date. What is it?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe we could follow up with
Well,
the other, or Ralph, yeah,
well,
Ralph.
someone, yeah,
Yeah, Ralph question.
yeah.
Great. We're done. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so
for
much.
joining me.
And I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Live on, Becky.
Did you say have a great Thanksgiving?
I said, I hope you had a great.
Oh, I thought you said-
Had.